Those who can call him Abba, Father, Dad, Daddy, reaching back to some earlier verses, with an affection. Now, Christians of former generations used to speak a lot about having an affection for spiritual things, for God. A feeling, a deep feeling of love for him. Now, I know that's not always our experience, but it should be part of it, shouldn't it? Sometimes we should have a genuine feeling of affection for our Father God, the one who loved us before we ever loved him. Abba, Father. It's a description of a Christian, someone who loves God. Now, of course, loving God means not only that we have feelings for him and we have an affection for him and a desire for him, but that we live for him, that we serve him. But let's keep those two things together. Let's not just have feeling Christians over here and action Christians over here. Both are expressions of love. And this is a love for God, not only for what he gives us and how he blesses us. Dr. Martin Lloyd-Jones was a great preacher of the 20th century. He preached up in Westminster Chapel, 5-6 miles down the road there. And he wrote, he preached through Romans in about 11 years, something like that. And which we won't take that long, maybe one. And he pointed out in his books, which were written based on his sermons, that this suffering can be a true test of love for God. A true test of true love. Do you really love him? Will you still love God even if he puts you through suffering, pain, frustration? Now, at this point you might remember Job in the Old Testament. Probably the oldest book of the Bible, interestingly enough. But a man who suffered so terribly. Do you remember when he just pretty much lost everything in a single day? And then he was afflicted with terrible sores on his body. Awful pain, painful suffering. For a period of time. Quite a long time, apparently, I think. It's certainly over a week. Weeks, let's say. What was the devil's charge? You remember the devil came to God in that heavenly court in chapter 1. And he brought a charge against Job, but really against God himself. The charge was this. He was effectively saying the devil was saying to God, God, Job only loves you because you bless him. He only really loves you because you bless him. In other words, we might say, he's only married you for your money. He doesn't really love you. He only loves your money, the money you've given him, and the blessing you've given him, and the wealth and the health you've given him. He only loves you because of what he gets out of you. God, you're really just his sugar daddy, basically. But take it all away from him, God, says the devil, and he'll not love you anymore. He'll ditch you like a dirty rag. He doesn't love you for yourself. He just loves your blessings. Now that was proved wrong. Through many trials and some time and struggles that Job went through, we know that he did complain and he really found it hard, didn't he? But he held on to God through it all. He didn't push him away. He didn't lose his faith. He didn't curse God. He really did love God for himself. That was the faith, I think, that God had given to him. He really did love God for himself through all those sufferings. Now the question is, in this context, will we love God even if he allows us to go through some horrible things? There may be some horrible things, perhaps that you're going through now. I hope not. I know that some of you have great trials and tribulations. But there may be some terrible things that may lie ahead of us before we reach the end. Will we then turn our backs on him? Will we then throw in the towel? We love him not merely because of his blessings. We love him because he first loved us. And we love him because he's lovely. We love him because he is glorious. He's beautiful. and he first loved us.